advertising does make us think perfection is possible. And I think even those of us who are smart or educated enough to know how it's constructed, we still get it in our heads. But we can look like that. They do look like that.
You know, misrepresentation is probably the best word to describe it, in terms of really pigeonholing women into certain roles and behaviors. You know, we see the mom, we see the person who cooks and person who cleans, and the roles that women perform, typically in the household. And then also behaviors like the shopaholic and those kinds of things that, you know, we get a good laugh out of, but then they also kind of create those norms. Many brands over the course of the last couple of years have started doing these fempowerment messages where, you know, like Dove, their campaign for Real Beauty, Always Like a Girl, were brands that are specifically targeted towards women, but then also some other brands, in addition, have used this messaging strategy kind of to show the idea of girl power and to be empowering to women, or to be encouraging women to embrace themselves for who they are and to value themselves as real people.
I think that these natural beauty campaigns, they're a step in the right direction, but they obviously have their problems still. One of the criticisms of the Dove campaign that I also think of with the Aerie campaign, yes, they are showing a wider variety of women's bodies, but it still seems like all the women fit a somewhat conventional box of beauty. Even the curvier women, the women who are supposed to be full-figured, there's something about their proportions that still fits our mind as beautiful. It seems like that there's still, just in terms of size, you could still have ad campaigns with much larger women, but I think there's a line where viewers would get really uncomfortable.
Social media influencers have become like the rage in terms of how brands want to communicate through social media. So we're seeing, you know, when I read through the industry newspapers, they're telling us that we should be using influencers more. And it goes back to the classic idea of word of mouth and just the idea of how the media operates. You know, media theory, like this kind of like two-step flow that, you know, it's not the media that impacts people, but it's other people that impact people. I think it's interesting to look at the connection between advertising and the way we use social media. In terms of the way we frame ourselves in selfies, the importance of selfies generally, I think, bears the stamp of advertising in a more general sense.
Because it's so prevalent, because it's in most people's lives in some capacity, because of the some level of, I'll say the word unconsciousness that we all tend to have when we're consuming media. If you're constantly seeing images of that look a certain way, one thing, for example, I've noticed recently that Almay, Carrie Underwood is a spokesperson for them in a lot of the recent television advertisements, and then even in like a CVS that I saw, the tagline is American Beauty. And so when I went into CVS, it was interesting to see under Almay, I believe that they had this American Beauty underneath it. And at the end of every commercial that she's in, she says American Beauty. And it's interesting to me because that messaging, that repetition throughout the commercial and just in everything, so this is what American Beauty is: blonde, blue-eyed, use Almay products. And it's interesting to me because I've been wanting to go on and see if there's any other on their website or any other advertisements that I see that have somebody else, because if they are only using her as a spokesperson, then they are speaking very loudly as to what their product deems is American Beauty, and it's very a limited scope.
That's one of the words that fascinates me, is how 5 years ago you had people acting like they were big deals on Instagram, but it was like, okay, it's just Instagram, calm down. Now, it really is a job to be an influencer, and it can be a career. My first response to thinking about Kendall Jenner or anyone in advertising is kind of, how does this fit the Kardashian image? So it's not so much about do women see themselves in ads like this, partly because do women see themselves in the Kardashians? do women see themselves in Kendall Jenner? I know that a lot of women aspire to that, and so part of it is aspirational. Part of the reason why the Kardashians and Jenners do what they do is to say, you're not me. But you can be if you buy these products, if you use your makeup this way, and especially if you buy our products. If you go to Dash and buy our clothes and then you buy the cosmetics we're selling, you can aspire to be one of us.